All right, so this video here is actually going to be the first video that I want to put together for a playlist on your way of being and energy and your emotional embodiment. So this is actually in response to some surveys that I've read from people, and I wanted to go into this because this is very important. You know, oftentimes in relationships we think that if we just focus on what to say, what to do, what to text, things like that, over-analyzing the other person's behavior, that somehow that's going to lead us to being able to have a great relationship. And in a lot of respects, you can make some progress by doing that. Like, you know, again, I could give you a certain text message thing to say that might get you over the hump with whatever challenge you're at right now. But it's not going to stop you from experiencing another challenge down the road. You know, there's always going to be something else. There's always going to be some other difficult conversation that you need to have, or some disagreement, or some event that happens, or some thing that they accuse you of, or whatever the case might be. And so I don't want to get stuck in this endless loop. I don't want you to get stuck in this endless loop of trying to manage what to say next, what to do next, because that's not, number one, that's not really very rewarding for me. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's not a very good business position, but I don't want a bunch of people who are needing me to tell them what to say next and what to do next. I want to empower you to be able to automatically know what the right thing for you to say and do next might be. And the best way to do that isn't by just, you know, spoon feeding you things to say. The best way to do that is going to be by helping you to really embody a natural emotional place, state, a natural energetic state, a natural way of being that's in alignment with what you want. And then you don't have to put on an act. You don't have to pretend to be someone or something that you're not. You don't have to wonder, what should I say next? Now, of course, as I've said before, that sort of stuff can be useful in you know, knowing how to greet opportunities when they present themselves to you. You know, you may have what we call an open door present itself to you, and it helps if you are prepared to walk through it. Just like how, you know, if you had like zero dating experience and suddenly there's an attractive person in front of you, you may not necessarily know how to ask that person out, how to plan a date or anything like that. And so, you know, you might have created a result by embodying what you want, but if you don't know how to walk through that open door, that's when some of these tactical things like what to say, what to do can be helpful. But what I want you to do is to really embody the way of being of what you want first and foremost, so that a lot of things naturally fall into place. Because people, many times, I can tell you this from having worked with people for, at this point, probably, almost 13 years now, a lot of people are in a place of reaction when it comes to their partner. That is to say, they don't know what to do, they don't know what to say, and so, you know, we might come up with some sort of plan if we were to work together, and it might be like, okay, you know, tell them this, and then wait for them to respond in some way, and then they say, okay, they responded in some way, what do I do next? And then we say, okay, well, it depends. You know, are they open to doing this? If so, then do A. If not, then do B. And it's like, okay, well, they didn't, so I did B. Okay, well, what now? Well, okay, well, if they do that, then do C. If they don't do that, then do D. Okay, well, you know, they did that, so we did C. And then we can kind of keep going, but basically we're reacting to where their partner is. And again, you can get some degree of results from that. You can get some degree of results from, you know, figuring out the text message to send and sending it. You can get some results from figuring out the right body language and the right, you know, amount of time to wait before responding to a text message and all that. But it's not going to be fundamentally empowering to you. So what we want to do is we want to flip this around, and instead of being reactive, we want to be proactive. Now, being proactive means that you're going to tune out as much as possible what your external reality is telling you. Right now you might be in a place that's not very good. You might be in a place where it's like, okay, I'm not getting the kind of results that I want. What do I do? Or, hey, I'm going through this hard breakup. Or, hey, they're not talking to me anymore. And you might let that define you. And that's when the outside world becomes bigger than your inside world. And that's where things start to get problematic. Because there's always something that you can look to outside of you to feel a certain way. Just turn on the news and there's always something to be afraid of. Look hard enough for certain signs that, things aren't good between you and your partner, and you'll probably find something. And I don't want you to look for that and use that to define your situation. Because then you become at the reaction side of your external circumstances. What I want you to do is to turn your attention inward and allow your internal state to become more real than your external state. And what's going to happen is your external state is going to match your internal state. So if you allow yourself to feel loved, whole, accepted, and complete before you have any decent, good reason to feel that way outside, you will draw to yourself circumstances that allow you to feel that way. Many times that'll be the relationship that you want. Many times that'll be some sort of great synchronicity that sort of brings things to you in just the right way. Many times that'll be your partner contacting you for a change out of the blue, or who knows what it might be. But we want to be able to do this, and the most important thing that we can do is to work on our energetic way of being. And so what we want to do is stop analyzing our partner from the outside, our situation from the outside. Stop looking to, oh, did they say this? If they did, then I can feel good. If they didn't, then I can feel bad. I mean, of course, have a normal human reaction, but don't dump the extra layer of suffering onto it by making it mean something. So let me tell you a story that might make this make a little bit more sense in a practical sort of way. So, many years ago, when I was still single and I was, trying to get into a relationship, I had this friend at school, at college, and she was always angry about things. She was always angry about how some school policy didn't work for her, about how some professor changed an assignment, or about how some person she knew, didn't call her back, or some driver on the road cut her off or something. And one day, I realized that she was living her life from a place of anger, and she would always feel angry, even if she had to invent it. Don't get me wrong, there's valid reasons to feel angry, but she would sometimes misinterpret things. She would misinterpret what someone said. She would take things personally when it wasn't meant to be personal. She would, distort things in a way that allowed her to feel anger, because she was so accustomed to living her life from a place of anger that she basically needed to feel angry all the time. And so she would go out and look for things to feel angry about. And I thought I was very clever and so smart for figuring all of this out. But then I started to ask myself, well, how am I living my life? What's the emotional state that I might be living my life from? And I realized it wasn't anger, but it was anxiety. And again, back then I was single, so I was trying to, go on dates and meet women and all that. And I would feel anxious all the time. It's like, okay, did I say the right thing to her? Well, gee, she seemed like she had a good time, but then it took her, several days to call me back. Maybe she was just being polite. Or what was that weird thing she was doing with her hand? Maybe she was like really uncomfortable. Maybe that was like a body language sign that she didn't actually like me or something. And so, as you could see, there are of course valid reasons to feel anxious as well, but a lot of this was me just in my own head creating anxiety when I didn't even need to. And so, what I want you to do is to start to ask yourself, what might be the emotional state that you could be seeing things from that could be causing you to create that experience over and over again in your life? What could be your way of being that's causing you to create some outcome over and over again in your life? Because you will find a way to recreate this if you need to. Like if you have some sort of limiting belief that you're not worthy of love for whatever reason, you might somehow find yourself attracted to people that are not going to have the capacity to love you. Emotionally unavailable people, maybe narcissists, maybe people that just have so much going on in their life that they can't give you attention. That could happen, right? You could be unconsciously attracted to those people that says, and say to yourself, like, hey, I don't know what it is about this person, but I just want to be with them. And, don't get me wrong, you can definitely feel attracted to people and want to be in a relationship with them. But if you seem to keep being in a relationship with the same person in a different body over and over and over again, then there's probably some emotional state, some way of being that you're recreating in your experience. And we want to be mindful of this so that we can bring our attention to it and correct any unproductive patterns that aren't very helpful for us. So that might happen. Or if you happen to meet a normal, regular person who does want to have a great relationship to you, they don't want to leave you, you might do things like start to, misinterpret certain things that they say. You might start to maybe behave in ways that are maybe needy or clingy or something like that, that could then cause them to say, hey, I don't know, I just feel kind of smothered in this relationship. I'm going to leave. I'm out of here. And then that way you can feel validated and say, okay, yeah, I knew it. Like, people always leave me in the end. Or the third possibility is that, maybe even that doesn't drive them away. And so then you maybe start to misinterpret things that they say, and you start to say, oh, hey, like maybe that person that you're following on Instagram, like maybe you're actually secretly in love with them. You didn't text me back right away. Is that because you were actually on a date with someone else? And maybe they're not. Maybe they're just like busy with whatever. But if you start to see things that aren't there in the situation and start to project that onto them, then you could easily sabotage your own relationship at that point, thus causing you to be right, prove yourself right, and say, okay, yeah, I knew it. People always leave me in the end. Like, this person was cheating on me when really they were just at work, or they forgot their phone at home or something like that. And so we have to be careful about this stuff, because just like how my friend was creating anger everywhere, and just like how I was creating anxiety everywhere, you could be doing this in your own special way in your life, and it could be playing out over and over again. So we want to get out of this reactive cycle, and we want to get into a place where we can intentionally choose how we want to show up in our day-to-day life. Because when we can intentionally choose our way of being, that's when we start to magnetize ourselves not to anger or anxiety, or people always leave me in the end, or I'm not good enough, or hey, narcissist, come over here, I'm your perfect target. But instead we start to magnetize ourselves to things like love, acceptance, wholeness, completeness, and we start to draw things to our experience that match that, and we start to draw people to us that match that. And so that's really what this whole way of being stuff is about. It's proactively taking on the way of being of what it is that you want to experience, and then go ahead and drawing that to you. And so what we're going to be doing in order to make this happen are really two different things. Number one, there's going to be a video that I'm going to upload next on some subliminal messages, some affirmations that you can go ahead and listen to while you are sleeping. I'm going to go ahead and put the video right up there in a video card. And also down in the description box below, so go ahead and click on that if you need to. But this is going to be an 8-hour long video, and the intention behind this is that you go ahead and listen to this while you're sleeping, because your mind your conscious mind is going to be filtering these thoughts and suggestions and saying like, oh yeah, I'm worthy of love. No, I'm not. I'm not worthy of love. My parents made that abundantly clear when I was growing up, and it's going to be filtering these things. But in the time of kind of getting ready for bed and going to sleep and being asleep, your conscious mind is checked out. It's not there, and instead you're totally susceptible to these unconscious thoughts and suggestions, because you're going to be totally in your unconscious mind. And so that's why we want to listen to these affirmations while we're sleeping, because they're going to take much more easily. And we want to do this on a daily basis, nightly basis, for at least a month, just to like really cement it in place. I know sometimes people say that, you know, it takes 21 days to make a new habit, and from what I understand, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. So let's just do it for at least a month. And that's what I want you to do with the first video. Now, in this first video, it's 8 hours long, so, you know, listen to it while you're sleeping. But there's also going to be a kaleidoscope that plays on this video at the same time. Now, the purpose of this kaleidoscope, now, if you're just going to be doing this while you're sleeping, like, don't worry about it. But maybe it's the middle of the day. Maybe you just have some spare time and you just want to do this and you're not necessarily sleepy. Or maybe you're just having a hard time getting to sleep. You can go ahead and watch this kaleidoscope. Just go ahead and stare at the center of it and watch it as it makes the geometric shapes and all that sort of stuff. And what this is going to do is it's going to put you in a sort of trance. And what it's going to do is to kind of take your conscious mind, kind of, you know, turn off the lights on it so that you start to become more susceptible, more into your unconscious mind. And then you can go ahead and receive these affirmations in a much more receptive place. So if you're having a hard time sleeping, this might help you sleep because it's going to shut off your conscious mind and help you get into this more unconscious state. But if you're also just in the middle of the day, maybe you're on your lunch break or something, and you just want to watch an hour of this video or something like that, go ahead and do that. That's totally fine. Just watch the kaleidoscope. And then the second thing I'm also going to include for you is going to be a guided meditation that's going to help you get yourself in this embodied state of the way of being you want to experience. You can go ahead and find that meditation right up there as well in a video card, or you can find it also in the description box below this video. And what I want you to do is go ahead and use this meditation either right as you're about to go to sleep and right as you're about to use the subliminal 8-hour long other video, because that's going to help you to communicate with your unconscious mind. Again, because the doorway to the unconscious begins to open as we're getting ready to go to sleep and as we're waking up. So listening to this meditation either right before you go to sleep or right as you're waking up first thing in the morning can be very helpful. So that's basically your regimen here, is to listen to the affirmations while you're sleeping, and also either do the meditation, the guided meditation before going to sleep and or upon waking up in the morning, because that's when you can communicate most with your unconscious mind and really start to embody these changes and really start to work on these beliefs on an unconscious level. So anyway, that is where we're at. That's what we're going to be working on when it comes to all of this way of being stuff for now. You can go ahead and find the 8-hour subliminal recording right here. Go ahead and do that now if you want to, if you're in a good place for that, or go ahead and try out this meditation over here. Anyway, once again, this is Clay. Thanks so much. Take care, and I'll talk to you in the next video.